Hey everybody, how's it going tonight? So we were listening to some of the comments that some people had asked, and obviously my buddy Kyle is a Canadian investor, and so what we wanted to do was add a Forex option into the portfolio tracker. So for you guys, what it's going to basically include is the normal spreadsheet that I had previously, but also the spreadsheet where it basically has some of the Forex options associated with it. Now, little quick tidbit about everything that's kind of in here. So you have your primary currency. This is obviously your home country currency. So if you're living in the EU, you'd be doing something like euro. If you're living in the US, you'd be doing something like US dollar. And what this basically is going to do, it is going to shift everything and convert everything here into, say, a US dollar equivalent. And what that then is going to do is you're obviously going to see that these numbers change along with that. The only thing that doesn't change, though, however, are the little euro symbols. And so what is probably important for you to understand is at the moment, this is set up for someone investing in, say, euros as their primary currency. But all you would need to do in the case where you would want to change that is highlight the cells that you want to change, just like you would do in these cells as well. And look here and change this to, say, dollars if you were investing in dollars, euros if you're investing in any other sort of currency, UAD, United Arab Emirates dirham, Egyptian pounds, whatever sort of currency that is in here at the moment that's traded pretty heavily, you could change to be able to understand what your currency value is. So any sort of change that you want to put in here, absolutely feel free to do that. Now, this is kind of some logic built in to understand and keep track of different currencies that you're investing in the portfolio itself. So for instance, what I have set up down here is multiple different currencies as the secondary currency. So in case you want to invest into something like the Canadian Stock Exchange in Toronto, the Helsinki Stock Exchange in Northern Europe, if you want to invest in the Frankfurt Stock Exchange for BMW shares, you have the ability to do that. Now, before we kind of move into the next part of the video, this is going to be highly important for my international investors. We did kind of do a little bit of research and looked at how we can get some of these ticker symbols from the other stock exchanges to show up. So for instance, there's the Nordea Bank here that is strictly on the Helsinki exchange. All you'd have to do is do the NDA-FI. And then the most important part is the period HE standing for Helsinki. And same thing with Bank of Nova Scotia here. If you were to just type in BNS here, it would show up as the American deposit receipts that you're getting on the US stock exchange. But if you type in bns.to, that is now actually signaling that you're investing in and off of the Toronto exchange. So that way, when you get everything coming in, it's coming in Canadian dollars and then kind of moving it over into euros. Now this here is linked, this primary currency is linked to what you have up top here, and your secondary currency is going to have to be manually entered on your own. So that being said, you would kind of have to say, okay, for Shell, for instance, you'd have RDSB.L for London Stock Exchange. It would be the same for a company like BP or maybe even Vodafone. And you would have to do GBP for Great British Pound. And then it would automatically convert into whatever currency you would want it to convert into. Now you can see that the prime currency, or in this case, the euro that you're investing in, shows up in yellow throughout the spreadsheet. And that's just so you can kind of keep track of everything here. Another thing that we did for you guys in this is we made it so that when you look at your overview, it's tracking in, say, euros, not necessarily what currency it is. And that's just to help simplify what you're actually investing in your primary currency. Because in all actuality, if you're investing in the example that we have kind of set up here, Canadian dollars, euros, and Brazilian currency, you don't necessarily care about what the value is in each of those currencies. You're probably caring mostly about what your primary currency value is. And so in the case of what you're seeing here, you can see the CAD gets transmitted in the primary value from CAD to almost 7,000 euros, and the Brazilian real gets transferred from about 12,600 reals to just under 3,000 euros. And then what that ends up doing is being rolled up as a whole into the actual portfolio value here. And we did the same with dividends down here as well. You can see that the euro doesn't really change, but what it automatically does here is change your Canadian to, say, euros, and also your real to euros as well, and rolls it up for you. So what we basically just want to do is make this a little bit simpler and give you guys some examples. If you're an international investor, you could use this for Japanese yen, you could use it for Hong Kong dollars. I tested it out for Aussie dollars. The only exchanges that was having a little bit of difficulty with was the Mexican exchanges, as well as the Trinidad exchanges. I tested out for some of my coworkers. And so I was having problems with that, but you could see here that we have the Brazilian exchange on here, we have the German exchanges on here, the Tokyo exchanges. So that way, the Hong Kong exchange as well, I tried that out and having zero problems associated with that. And that's basically it. I mean, there's not too much else that I want to show you guys other than the fact that, hey, if you want to change this to, say, US dollars, if you're investing in US dollars, yeah, you got to go over to format and automatically change this to a dollar sign rather than the Canadian sign, which might be a little bit of a hassle. Maybe I could figure out a way to format that out into future work for you here. But the only other thing that I wanted to mention that you are now missing is because now that we are kind of converting to and from different currencies, you kind of lose this yield on cost sort of thing. So in that respect, it's kind of sad. I really like that yield on cost feature, but hopefully that's not a breaker for you. And if that's something that you truly are interested in, just utilize the other spreadsheet that comes with the download. And same thing with the dividends received. This is going to be in your primary currency. So in this case, this would be utilizing euros because that's what we currently have it set up as for your primary currency. And so say you download this and you're Canadian, you just have to go in here and switch this and go to the format to CAD, and it would kind of roll right up for you without any problems. The only thing I would want to make sure for you to understand is when you try to do some checks and balances, it's probably going to show up as a different format for you. And you're not necessarily going to be able to, and this is one of the reasons why I have to split this up into three. If you were to do CAD, Euro, and the Brazilian Real all in one sort of sheet without kind of having the logic built in here, it would break. It wouldn't be able to read, and that's just because it's not going to easily add Canadian dollars to Australian dollars or Canadian dollars to the euro because they're all different sort of symbols here. It'd be like adding, this symbol to this symbol. The logic's just not going to work. And so that's why you kind of have to do it in this sort of fashion. It is relatively easy to add. So in this case, for example, we have the Japanese yen on here and the Hong Kong dollar on here, but we don't have that up here in the tracker. So I'm hoping that none of you guys really need to invest in more than 3 or 4 different currencies. And if you do, let me know. I can add this for you. But for instance, if you wanted to add that and look, you could see if you scroll all the way down that what we're actually totaling up to is a value in dividends of about 1,208 and a total value of 22,705. And when you actually go over to here, you're seeing 22,705, but you're seeing sort of a missing balance here, and you're kind of curious as to what the heck is going on. Why is there a $128 misstep here? This actually should be a euro. Let me change that really quick. Why is there 128 missing? And then you can easily start to understand, okay, euros, this is supposed to be 22,703. It's not. Why is it not that? And you can realize, okay, so we have the portfolio reading in CAD, Euro, Brazilian. And you can see, kind of scrolling down in the secondary currency, you You have Euro, CAD. You also have Great British Pound here, which we don't account for. You have Japanese yen, which you don't account for, and Hong Kong dollars, which you don't account for. But at the moment, the only thing we really have added in here is this Great British Pound, and also I think maybe one of the yen or something like that. So if you actually just look at this, why is this off? You can see there's $117 or so, or 117 euros in this case, that it's off. And that's because obviously we're not reading the Great British Pound in the upper part of this. And so when you kind of roll it up, it's kind of missing that aspect up here, because you're obviously only really keeping track of 3 of the currencies. If you wanted to add the Great British Pound, you'd have to do that manually. But currently have it set up for 3 currencies for you guys at the moment. And I also added a little bit of notes here for you international investors. If you want to add, say, the Toronto Stock Exchange, kind of like what I showed you, or the Brazilian Stock Exchange as well, or Tokyo Stock Exchange. So really hope that helps you guys out. Like I said, if there's any other questions about what you guys are interested in terms of seeing on this, feel free to send us an email. In the description below, we'll have the website that you guys can reach us at. And also with the download at the very bottom of the README file, I have my cell number. You can WhatsApp me. It's my Trinidad cell phone. WhatsApp me. That's not a problem at all. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions, or also try to help you out in terms of building the spreadsheet to be anything better and useful for you guys, because that's why we're building it. So really hope this video finds you guys great, and hope it finds you guys well. Appreciate you guys giving us all the feedback on the spreadsheet. Hope it continues to be a delight for you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers.